Good evening and welcome. We are back for episode number, I think, 33. Well, no, 34. I remember writing it out now. I only did it 10 minutes ago. Goodness me. But episode 34, we are back. It is Low League Lingo, and we will be going all through Tier 5 on the other side of this. Yes, indeed. Hello. Good to have you with us. We are, as I say, just riding through the last little bits of Tier 5 after a massive battle has ensued. 6 champions have been crowned, 2 still to go, a couple of relegation spots to sort out, and we are going to do that. So, without further ado, let's say hello to our esteemed panel once again. Gaza, how are you, sir?
Good, thank you very much. Yeah, happy to be here. The last week was good. This week's going to be good as well.
That's what we're planning for. And of course, back after having to sort out some admin last week, Mr. John Foster. How are you doing, sir? Carlo, word you saying, mate? Not a dicky bird.
It's because he's muted, that's why.
That's it. I've just unmuted myself. Sorry about that. Yeah, apologies for last week. Work called, unfortunately, a very, very short notice, but glad to be back today.
Well, good to have you as ever. So we are going to kick straight off, and we're going to sort of start and end with the south of England. So we're going to run through where we stand currently in these leagues and what's happened, and then we will finish with also the Southwest and the Southern Premier with some other extra little bits and pieces as well. So very good to have you along, Andrew. Lovely to see you here with us again as well. Thank you very much. And if you are watching, please do like. And if you haven't already subscribed, do that too. It would be wonderful. Thank you very much. So, Southwest Premier, we're just going to scoot through these real quickly because there wasn't a huge amount to run through that has changed since the last time we looked at these. Marine Academy had finished their season pretty much the time that we looked at this last day. They won their last game and are 5 points clear of Torquay. But Torquay United, this is, of course, one of the ones that could still go either way, because Torquay United can win the league, but only if they win both of their upcoming games. And of course, as we said the last time we were looking, this weekend they are away to Sherborne Town, which isn't the easiest, up there in third, so not the simplest of games to play. And then they're at home to Puckle Church Sports, who, as you can see, are down there in 8th spot. So for Marine Academy, they cannot be crowned champions just yet. They are waiting to see what happens with Torquay. If Torquay win both of those games, they will be the winners and will make it up into the WNL. If not, even if they draw, then Marine Academy can pop out the champagne, have a little dance and a groovy, and that'll be it. Job sorted. So that's where we stand there. As you can see, we're also in the situation down at the bottom. We knew that St Austell were relegated, but Bishop's Lydiard can still escape. 2 games in hand for Bishop's Lydiard, and Paul Town have finished their season. So what do Bishop's Lydiard need to do? Well, they're away to AFC St Austell, that team just below them. So that could well be the 3 points that they needed to narrow the gap. But they have got an 8-goal difference that they will need to swing round as well. But the fun news for Bishop Lydiard is that their second game is a home game against AFC St Austell. So it's a double header over the course of 2 weeks against the team below them. And if they can win both or win one heavily and lose the other one not so badly, then they will be up and Paul Town will drop down. So there we go. That is the joys of the Southwest. Like I said, I'm going to come back to that at the end of the show, along with the Southern Premier. Because in the Southern Premier, obviously, this was all decided the last time we looked. Ascot United weren't the champions at that point. They were very nearly the champions. They are now. And Badshot Lee and Chelsea were, of course, down. Nothing's changed there. Season over. as we look over there. And that is that as far as they're concerned. So Ascot will be up and Badshot and Chelsea will be down. Right, we are going to move over to the Northwest. We're playing it slightly different today for a variety of reasons, none of which that we need to go into particularly. But we are going to get Gareth to run through both of his northern ones, and then we're going to give him a little bit of time off, and he is going to dip, and then it'll be left with John and I to run through the Midlands and the South. So let's get ready to tune into the dulcet tones of Mr. Gareth Townsend as he gets ready to take us through the Northwest. And again, a massive congratulations to you for finishing the season unbeaten.
Yes, I mean, last time we spoke, we'll start with the top and work down. Last time we spoke, we had been confirmed champions, but obviously we finished the season a couple of weeks ago now. And it was actually really nice kind of final game for the season. The sun was shining. We were away to Fleetwood, playing at Highbury, which was a fantastic experience. And I bumped into a member of my family while I was there. So that was kind of surreal. It was my mum's cousin's husband was working at Fleetwood. So that was strange, surreal, but lovely to see them. It's a small world, football, isn't it? So yeah, that the championship was kind of decided way back when we last spoke, but kind of the second and third was still to play for. Unity were in a good spot. I think they won't mind me saying that I don't think they were hugely fussed based on league results at that point, given that they had both the County Cup and the League Cup finals coming. And although, granted, their league form dipped, they lost against Bury in the league last week, which meant they would finish third. They then went and beat Bury 4-0 a couple of days ago, yesterday, day before, one of the two. This week's been a crazy week with Bank Holiday. Yesterday, last night, won 4-0 to win the Manchester County Cup and beat Accrington convincingly at the weekend on Sunday to win the League Cup. So I don't think they will mind too much about finishing third. Down the bottom, Salford were unable to get any wins from their final three, any points at all, actually, which would have seen them overhaul FC United. So FC United stay up, and it is Salford City Lionesses that go down. I will look back at Salford fondly, actually. I think they were, when we were FC United, and we had a really good title race with Cheadle and Salford, and us obviously eventually coming out on top at FC. Salford were instrumental in that. They were I believe, the only side to beat us in the league all season, if I remember correctly. And yeah, so they were instrumental in that title race. So it is a shame to see them go down. Would also have been a shame to see FC go down as well. But I think I just want to kind of touch on one thing very quickly, and that is we're going to see it with Marine Academy and Torquay. We've seen it here with FC and Salford in terms of the relegation. I hate this so much when teams are finishing at different points in the season, not necessarily for any other reason other than when you win the league, when you achieve something, whether that's staying up by the skin of your teeth, whether that's winning the league, you should be able to celebrate that together. And if you're sat at home checking full time, refreshing Twitter, waiting to see what happens, and you're not together, then that's difficult, because I think I would really want to celebrate that success or that achievement, even if it's just the achievement of staying up with my team. And granted, I guess Marine Academy could go and watch Torquay's games. FC United could have gone to watch the Salford games together, but it's not the same. And I think I understand why it happens. It happens because of postponements and all sorts of things. But I really kind of wish that the final day was set in stone, and that is the day the season will finish. If you're going to rearrange games, you rearrange them before then, so then you can have all of that success. You can celebrate your success. You can commiserate the losses together as a team.
Tend to agree with that, young Gaza. Two teams coming up. Don't know if you know much about them, but you've got looks like Bolton Wanderers. They are definitely on their way up, so that's quite a big name.
And Bolton Wanderers have won their league I think both sides actually have been really strong. Bolton Wanderers coming up from the north, Polton Vicks coming up from the south. Both seem strong, should be able to compete next year. I'm hoping we have a full league of 12 and no one drops out beforehand. I'm hoping that it's a competitive league again. I think they'll both be absolutely fine. Bolton have got a really, really strong core group of young players. If they can keep that squad together, they'll be great. Polton have, Lee Austin at Polton's a really experienced manager at this level, and I think they've got a lot of strength in that squad, able to kind of tap into some good players kind of from Cheshire. They reached the County Cup final, unfortunately lost against Stockport in that game last week, but really strong. And yeah, I think both sides will do well. I think there are going to be sides, Crewe, West Didsbury, FC United will want to try and bounce back, but can they? I think there's a lot of things to look for next season, particularly at the bottom end. I think the top end is going to be super competitive as well. You're adding Fylde into that mix to replace Withenshaw. I think Darwin will want to go again. I think Unity will absolutely want to be up there, and I think Bury, hot on the success of the men's team, will want to try and recruit well and push on with the women's team as well. So I think the top of that table is going to be really, really tight. I think if Fylde can keep their group of players together as well, I wouldn't put it past them to bounce back. Wouldn't put it past Unity to put a run of form together and go up. I wouldn't put it past Bolton Wanderers to really challenge at the top if they can keep that group of players together. So, super interesting and looking forward to next season.
Not kidding, absolutely. And of course, Salford will be looking to try and bounce straight back up again, but I don't think it's going to be simply as easy as that. And of course, we make it to the Northeast. We can give some congratulations to Chester Street, who have Chester Street Town, I should say, because there are two teams, believe it or not, in Chester Street, and they are the champions. They are up, and Hull United in the end were the side to go down. But what can you tell us about the Northeast, Gaz? What do you reckon that's been like this season?
Yeah, I think it looked really competitive at one point between Bradford and Chester Street Town. Town is important. I don't think Chester Street just the general Chester Street. It's usually a John Foster thing that. It was really competitive, wasn't it? Until Bradford went and played Alnwick a couple of weeks ago. Alnwick won that game, which meant that the kind of title decider was this last Sunday when Bradford played Chester Street. Bradford won the game. They would have required Alnwick to do them a favour this coming weekend, but the title race would still have been open. But it meant that if Chester Street won, which they did 4-0, they would be champions. So they've gone straight back up to the National League at the first time of asking, which is fantastic for them. They will be hoping next season that they can be steady, they can be stable. There have been a few times where Chester Street have kind of yo-yoed a bit. They were in the similar to kind of FC United in a way. They were in the National League, got relegated, won the league, went straight back up, and then came down again, and then have gone back up again. So they have kind of been yo-yoing a little bit in the last few years. So they will be hoping absolutely to put a stop to that and really kind of grasp that National League spot. Bradford will probably feel aggrieved. They came really close, but just fell short in the last two games of the season, which is, really tricky to kind of accept. But they should be in a good position. Doncaster will be coming into this league, you imagine. And you suspect that Doncaster will be looking to go back up as well. But with the way Doncaster's form has been recently, they've not really been able to grab onto something and stabilize and kind of maintain a level where they're comfortable and where they're strong. So I wouldn't put it past Bradford to have another strong season next season. You've got that next group of people, Alnwick Town, who previously had been in the National League, South Shields, whose men's team are successful, and if their linked together. There might be some recruitment there, some pull from there. Ponteland United were strong all season, dipped away towards the end as the games in hand caught up with them. But there's some real strong stuff there. So again, I am expecting this to be a competitive league at the top. What I do hope for the bottom is that both Hull United and York Railway Institute, who again had failed to fulfil fixtures, had some walkovers again towards the end of the season, hope that both of them are able to recruit well in the summer, both of them able to field teams consistently next season, and kind of stop the rot, I guess. Hoping, that York Railway survive and they can kind of get a team and they can be, if not award-winning, can be competitive with those teams around them next season. Hull, it will be good to see them compete towards the top of Tier 6. I don't know anything really about the 6th tier in the Northeast, but it would be good if they were able to be competitive there. Bounce straight back, who knows? Would they even want to after this season? You've won 6 points on the pitch, which would have been enough to finish ahead of York Railway Institute. But then you've lost 15 points throughout the course of the season. York Railway Institute even more so. They won 11 points, also had 15 points deducted. So for both those sides to have 15 points deducted, when in the Northwest we've seen kind of 1 point deductions, 2 point deductions, 3 point deductions, those kinds of numbers handed out. There's been lots of deductions handed out. You don't get a 15-point deduction for one thing. That's an accumulation of several games where they've not been able to fulfill fixtures. So hopefully that can change. However, that being said, the fact that both sides have finished the season, the fact that both sides have continued and they've not just pulled the plug and withdrawn from the league, which I think would have been really easy for them to do at times. Yeah. That I think deserves recognition, and like I say, I hope that next season they perform strongly, and I think those sides coming up, if York don't necessarily kind of recruit fantastically, you're looking at 3-4 wins in order to stay up, and I think that's absolutely possible for any team getting promoted.
Absolutely. And like you say, it does kind of spoil it a little bit if you have a couple of teams that can't put their teams out. It's not the most ideal. Teams coming up, very interesting. One of the ones, the guaranteed one from the Division 1 North is quite interesting because that's Thornaby. And if you go back over some of our work right at the very beginning, we had a interview with the management team at Thornaby because obviously they were national news for a short while with some dramas that were going on around their football team and having the women's section disappear entirely, and then it was brought back again a bit like Lazarus. So, lots going on there, and it's a proper Lazarus thing now because here they are back in Tier 5 next season, which is absolutely amazing. The southern one, though, Division 1 South, lots to look at there. There's still loads to go with that. They have got still games to play, and it could go anywhere. It could be Brunsmere Athletic, it could be Ossett United, it could be Handsworth Ladies, which is of course another team that we've highlighted during the FA Cup run as well. Only 3 points separating those three teams, so any one of those could come back up. Gareth, I'm going to let you go to go and do whatever it is you need to go and do, and thank you again for popping on. Always much appreciated. Guru,
thanks very much, gentlemen. Have a lovely show.
We sure will. I've got John Foster, the man can talk for England. No dramas there. Real good.
See you later.
See you later, mate. So there we go. That is the north of England, and with that in mind, we will pop over here now. Johnny boy, last time we looked at Tier 5, it was actually Kieran who came in and did the job for you. So we went through this league with Kieran. It was all very, very exciting. Now, to be fair, Sheffield had won the league at that point. Nothing's changed in this. This is exactly the same, really, as it was when we looked at it 3 weeks ago. But massive difference. You'll notice I put a great big whacking red X through one of the relegation spots because out of nowhere, what's happened, John?
As we've said all season, that a third of the league was going to get relegated due to only having 9 teams instead of the full 10. So, like we've been discussing higher up the pyramid regarding retrievals, it appears that it's Anstey Nomads who have been the team to be retrieved. So we'll get into the ups and downs, who's getting promoted from Tier 6 into this league throughout the show. But yes, it's absolutely great news for them, and now the league should hopefully now have an even number next season. As you said, Barry, not much change really. There has been 4 games just to kind of finish off the league, and I'll just run through those scores. Sheffield FC drew their game against Rotherham. Chesterfield won 4-0 against Mansfield Town. And Rotherham drew 2-2 against Mansfield. But the one on the 27th of April should have really been the title decider, because that was Chesterfield against Sheffield FC. And ideally, the penultimate game of the season, that should have really been whoever wins goes up. But like you say, it was decided 2 or 3 weeks ago when Sheffield obviously got that win. So, yeah, congratulations to them. They've now been promoted into the Midlands division in Tier 4. As you say, everything was already decided. At the bottom, though, no games in the last 2 weeks, but it is the fact that Amsterdam Nomads have been retrieved. So they deserve. If you look at the points difference, there is a massive difference. Basford obviously only got 6 points. Nottingham Trent University only had 9 points. So there is a bit of a difference there. And it does make you wonder when they actually realised that. Was it quite short notice, or did they know pretty much at the start that that position would be retrieved? I guess we'll never know, but I'm sure they fought equally no matter when they found out. So great news there. Just before we go on to the Tier 6 promoted teams, just a few shout-outs regarding some standout players. So Emma Pollard won the Golden Boot, 20 goals in 16 appearances. She plays for Stamford AFC. And she was followed by Imogen Fowler with 17 goals in 18 appearances from Chesterfield Ladies. So congratulations to those two. I'm sure the Midlands division will be looking out for those players. Emma Pollard also won the Player of the League with 10, so that's not too bad. Getting 10 wins there out of like 16 plays. That's good going. So yeah, absolutely. The teams that have fell from the Midlands is Lincoln City and Solihull Moors. So you'd presume, unless if anyone, I haven't looked into this, but you'd presume that Solihull Moors will go into the West Midlands and Lincoln City would go into this league, the East Midlands. So unless if they have a bit of a rejuggle of the leagues. So I'll have a look at that. I'll keep my eye on that over the summer. Who's getting promoted into the league? Well, they've all been decided now. So as you know, there's three leagues below this league that will go into this. So that'll obviously add it up now. So instead of 3 teams being relegated, only 2 teams are now getting relegated. So that'll make the even number. Tier 6 North is Gainsborough Trinity Community. They was 9 points clear of their second place team. So congratulations to them. The Central League was Loughborough Foxes Vixens. That was 5 points clear. And then in the South, it will be Wellingsborough Town, who were 6 points better off than the second place team. So looks like we'll get an even number back in this league again next season. And looking forward to seeing what Sheffield FC women can do. They got relegated into this league last year. They've bounced straight back up. Will they feel confident? It's going to be a tough league, but I think they will do.
No, absolutely. And yeah, 3 boroughs coming up. It's quite a thing. And Loughborough especially, we're feeling quite delighted about that because that's 2 Loughboroughs that have gone up. So the people of Loughborough I don't know what they're eating in their Weetabix, but they've obviously been eating quite a bit because, Loughborough Lightning unbeaten and going up from their division in the WNL and Loughborough going up as well from Tier 6 to Tier 5. So, yes, some great news there, as you say. It was really interesting news going through your player stats there, but Millie Herbert Clark from SJR Workshop getting the third highest one, which is, again, quite amazing when you consider where they finished in the league. You could argue her goals looked like they were the ones that just about kept them up. But then, of course, came the reprieve. And I think you're right. I think the 2 teams quite deserved another crack at the whip. next season. So that's good. Right, that is the East Midlands. So again, well done to them. But the West Midlands, Jonathan, the West Midlands is one of the two where it's not quite done and dusted just yet. Interestingly enough, also the one where you are heavily involved. So talk to us a little bit about what is happening on the West Midlands, because the title could go anywhere, and still Solihull Sporting, they're not quite down and out just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the biggest news here that's coming out really is I would say Light Town will feel a little bit hard done by from in their opinion. So basically, let me just paint this picture. If you haven't seen on social media, or if you haven't been looking at the county cups, Light Town are currently top of the league by 1 point, and they've got one game left to play. The team below them, Kiddie Harriers, have got 2 games left to play. Kiddie's final game of the season is at home against bottom of the league, Knoll. So you kind of expect that to be a win for Kiddie Harriers. And their goal average is also in Kiddie Harriers' favour. So it really all depends on Kiddie's other game. So yeah, Lie obviously need Kiddie to drop points in that game. And they're against third place Shifnal. So everyone knows that's going to be a very possible game. The Shifnal can get some points from this. The one Kiddie Harriers at the start of the season, the opening game of the season, there's players that play at Shifnal who used to play at Kiddie Harriers, so they want to get one over on Kiddie, and that's going to be a very, very tough game. But this is the exciting bit if you're a fan in the area now. It was announced last week that the Shropshire County Cup final is being played just 2 days before this game. So when Kiddie play Shifnal, it's just 2 games before on the Friday. And guess who's in the final? Shifnal. So literally 2 days later, after Shifnal have a cup final, they've got to play Kiddie. And obviously Light Town, rightly so, probably at least questioned it, see if it could be moved. As far as I last checked on FA full time, the game's still going ahead. So that they'll play on Friday night in the County Cup final. I think it's against AFC Telford, so you'd expect Sheffield to win that game, and that'll be nice for them actually, because they've had a great season in the league. Looks like they're going to finish third, and it's good for them to win some silverware. Fingers crossed for them. However, to play less than 48 hours in a game that they will want to win, and also Light Town needs them to win, is absolutely remarkable. So massive twist there. Towards the bottom of the league, still undecided in 11th place. So 9th, they got Cov Sphinx, 10th, Old Church, 11th, Solihull Sporting, and 12th, Knoll Ladies. And it's so fragmented here, it's so distorted because of the amount of games played. So Old Church haven't played in ages. They've played all their 22 games already. Cov Sphinx, who's above them slightly, have got the same amount of points, but played 3 games less. And then a team below them, Solihull Sporting, have still got 3 games to go as well, but they need to pick up at least 4 points, maybe 5. So I just quickly run through some of the main fixtures there. Cov Sphinx have still got Port Vale, but they've also got Burton Albion and Shrewsbury all at home. So, you look at Cov Sphinx there, 3 home games, which is fantastic for them. But Solihull Sporting have got 2 games left, and they're both at home, also against Shrewsbury and Burton. And Shifnal Town versus Solihull Sporting still to be confirmed. So I guess the takeaway from this is Burton Albion and Shrewsbury Town have still got to play both of these teams. So they've got a real big say in who goes down. So it's going to be exciting to watch at the top and the bottom. Absolutely. Solihull Sporting have gradually just crept their way up in regards to wins and got the goal average. However, they're still in that relegation spot at the moment.
For sure, and of course, like you say, their Coventry Sphinx not out of it even there, because again, if Solihull Sporting do the business and jump above Alvechurch, it's still only a 10-goal swing that's needed over 3 games. If you can lose 3 games, you don't have to lose each game sort of 3-0, one of them 4-0, and all of a sudden alarm bells are ringing. So yeah, not much we can say either about the teams coming up, John, because it's one of those divisions, even going into the tier 6 section, where nothing really is for sure. Hednesford, obviously, in Division 1 North, they are looking very promising because the teams below have played all of their games with the exception of Walsall. So if Hednesford can manage to get one win, then it doesn't matter what Walsall do, they cannot catch them. But equally, if Walsall drop a point, just the one, that will probably be game over for them as well. So lots still to happen there in that one as well. And of course, it is the last game of the season is Walsall against Hednesford. So you could almost see a little bit of drama coming up there. And the Division 1 South is again nowhere near sorted yet because the top two teams have not played all of their games. They've still got a couple of games left each. 4 points the difference between Redditch Borough and Crusaders Women. Redditch Borough obviously at the top, 4 points clear, so it looks quite good for them. But the next game to be played is on the 11th, and it is Redditch against Crusaders. So big one there. Redditch win it, they will be champions. They draw it, they will be champions, and up they lose it, and it all goes down to the final day. So the West Midlands basically is where it's at tier 5 at the moment because lots of excitement, it appears, there. Now I know John's got some other Midlands news that he wants to bring to you. We're going to run through the southern sort of southeasty bits first, and then we'll go back to John whilst I get my ref back so we can have a little chat about that, and then we'll just quickly run back over to the southwest. And big news over here in the southeast because both of our leagues have got champions, and they are Fulham in the London and southeast. And no major surprises, I don't think, having seen how well Fulham have been doing this season. They just sort of been that traditional sort of cross-country racer, the one that's just behind the leading pack, but they had loads of games in hand, and they have absolutely walloped it this season. They've done a superb job for them, and they've really been pushing for this. They had the massive attendance right at the beginning of the season against at Craven Cottage, and from that moment on, it's just absolutely blown up, and they've done superbly well. You've got to give credit to Fulham for the way in which they have managed to run this campaign. They won it, beating Sport London Benfica just by the 6-0. Of course, they have had some drama. They had to cancel their League Cup final against Dartford. Fulham withdrew from that because they had fielded an eligible player earlier on in the tournament. So that was the day before the final. They had to walk away from that. So there has been some sad parts of the season, I think, for Fulham. But ultimately, the be-all and end-all at the end of any season is, can you make it up the leagues? And that is exactly what's happened for Fulham. So congratulations to them for making their way up. There are still a few games left to play, but they are the traditional sort of parade matches that you would expect. But even down at the bottom, it's not quite over yet, because Haywards Heath are gone. That is a straight up fact. They will not be around. But Ashford United, as you can see there, do have one of those two fixtures against Fulham. And if they, if Fulham take their foot off the gas, they can just get themselves a cheeky little draw, then that will be Sport London down. But of course, if Fulham go on the offensive and get a decent little win there against Ashford, then that will be the end of it for them, and they will drop down too. So as far as the London and South East goes, massive congratulations, like I say, to Fulham there. Ashford United still with a glimmer of hope, but not a huge one, you would imagine, based on how the season has gone for both sides. We will say we don't know quite yet how the split is going to happen for the teams coming down. There is another Ashford, the Middlesex team. They are relegated along with the mighty London Seaward, but we're not sure which one's going to go where. So they're a little bit still to work out for that one. And of course, as soon as we know, we will let you know. In terms of teams coming up, the Division 1 North for the London and South East, it's the mighty Brentford. They cannot be caught. And again, that's another team who we did a nice little team talk with earlier on this season. So if you want to go back right towards the beginning of the season, we had a good chat with one of the players from Brentford, and it's really nice to see teams that we featured earlier on in the season doing well. So congratulations to Brentford. They will be up and in the London and South East Regional next season. And I'm sure we'll be looking to try and do what Fulham have done this year. The other team that will be coming up from the Division 1 South is Aylesford. They have managed to win their league by 5 whole points ahead of Bognor Regis Town, and they will therefore be joining the gang here at the London and South East. So excellent news for these two teams that are coming up, and well done, like we say, to Fulham, who've nailed it. You feel sorry for some of the other teams. Dartford really did put on a show, fought till the end. That's still the last game of the season in this league. Fulham travelling to Dartford, so they will still get that little grudge match, and Dartford will be looking to just sort of send Fulham on their way with a bit of a bloody nose. But apart from that, it is pretty much job done. So that's London and South East. We've also got the Eastern Region, my little league, and we've got champions here as well. It was Royston all the way. Royston were flying. They had everything that they could possibly need, and the wheels just came off. They won the County Cup against Stevenage, and from that point on, everything just went to pot. They couldn't quite get the level of results that they required, and as a result, it just didn't work out for them. Now, like I say, big game against Stevenage, 4-3. They won that in the County Cup, but they then went on to lose to Haringey Borough 3-2. They drew with Cambridge City 3-3, lost to Stevenage 2-0. And even though they have beaten Wroxham 2-1 last weekend, it doesn't make a difference because Luton have had a superb season. You remember I said a few weeks ago they had to try and get through about 6 or 7 games in around about 14 days. It was a ridiculous schedule that they had to get through. Well, they got through it. 13th of April, battered Enfield 5-1. 16th of April, battered St Albans 4-0. 20th of April, little bit of a blip. They travelled to Stevenage and lost 1-0. But immediately, 7 days later, played Bowes and Pitsea 1-3-0. 2 days after that, away to St Albans, 1-1-0. And of course, just this weekend, faced Needham Market and beat them 8-1. So worthy champions, very difficult to argue otherwise. They have been one of the most consistent teams in the league and played incredibly well. The top 3 in this division have been super strong this season. And Stevenage, as you can see, they're just as much for them. 2 losses, and those 2 losses are to Luton and Royston. So as you look above all of those games, pretty much all of those losses have come playing teams within the top 3. So excellent results for those guys, and certainly a lot to be looking forward to. Going down to the bottom, it's a weird one. Cambridge City in 11th are relegated. That happened after a 2-1 defeat against Stevenage, rather. They were always going to struggle to get themselves out of there. They needed to win, and they needed to win well. They didn't, and as a result, that was the end of the road for them. So Cambridge are down. Needham Market are not down, technically, but they're down. You look at this one, it's a bit tricky. You can see the swing that's required is quite a big one. Needham Market would need to win quite well. But the thing is, Watford are going to be playing Luton Town. So there is an opportunity there, if Luton decide to put a show on, for them to drop a fair few goals. The problem is that Needham Market will have to face in their final game Stevenage. Now, this is the Stevenage side that have conceded 18 goals all season. So even if they had a mad one and conceded 18 goals just in that one game, you'd still be waiting for Luton to beat Watford 10-0 in order for Needham Market to stay up. And I just don't see that happening, John. I've got to be honest. So, sadly, although I can't legally put the R there, it will probably be the end of Needham Market, who have been a mainstay in this division, certainly since Stevenage dropped into it a few years ago. So it will be a sad one to miss. They're a side that have played at their men's stadium. It's a nice little stadium to go to, but it looks as though they are going to be disappearing from the Eastern region. And that, of course, leaves 2 teams to come up, and they've done incredibly well. both of those sides. It's Harpenden from Division 1 North. They've won their league currently by 9 points. There's still a couple of games to play in that one. But Harpenden have nailed it. They will be coming up to the Eastern region next season. And I can't recall seeing them up there for a while. So that is going to be quite a big opportunity for them. And they'll be hoping that they can consolidate their position in Tier 5. And in Division 1 South, it is Hutton who will be coming up. So congratulations to them. They are currently 8 points clear in their league. Games in hand over the team below, Colney Heath, but it wouldn't matter because they cannot be caught. So those are the two teams that will be popping up into the Eastern region. And again, I think they are very, very worthy teams. It's been a cracking season down here in the Southeast, and it's finally decided. So two big sides there given the opportunity to come again. And you do feel sorry, like I say, for Cambridge going down, that they were relegated from Tier 4 last season, and despite a really good battle here, relegated now from Tier 5, kind of following Kings Lynn a bit, really, who fell from Tier 5 last season and have now fell from Tier 6 as well into Tier 7. So, yeah, tiers all round, I think, for some of these teams, I have to say. Right, John, I'm going to get a little drink here and try and get some fluids on board, because that was a lot of talking to do in one go. We don't usually do both leagues, so we've all had to work very hard today. But you have got, it's not really Tier 5 stuff, but you had some Tier 4 and 3 bits and bobs that you wanted to throw out there. So give us your little Midlands update, my friend.
Yeah, and that's just what it is. It's just a bit of an update in the Midlands, but it's well worth mentioning because we have been covering these teams over the past 9 months. Stoke won the County Cup final against Sporting Calcer, so that was on the radio. So you might have heard the Leafield manager doing commentary. Cash Tesco, she was doing commentary on this. She's from Stoke, so it was great for her to be able to report on this. And it was held at Stafford Town, which is a great venue. First time I've ever been there, and the hospitality was fantastic. So a big shout out to Staffordshire County and, of course, Stafford Town for holding this event, and it was really good. Stoke won it. Basically, just to cut a long story short, Shannon Stamps had a fantastic first half, along with the teammates, of course, but Shannon got nominated player of the match, and they went in at half-time 4-1 up. And that's how it stayed. Castle was a lot stronger in the second half, but unfortunately the damage was done. And that is Andy Mulligan's last game. So Andy Mulligan has been a Sporting Castle manager for 4 years. He's obviously got them promoted and got them a massive 20-something points, 22, 23 points maybe this season. Bearing in mind the 11th place team got 5 points. He's done a remarkable job there as his first season in Tier 3. So all the best to obviously Andy Mulligan in his future aspirations, wherever he may end up. And also during that game, it was broke about the Stourbridge have recruited a new manager. So we knew A. Clements is left. That was announced back in March, April time maybe. And have been advertising for this role for 2 months now. And that actually went out publicly at 9 o'clock this morning. And they've recruited Meg Bailey. So Meg Bailey is a bit of a Stourbridge legend, former player, former barmaid, current under-16s coach, on for the treble this season. Also one of Andy Fisher's first team coaches at Kidderminster the Harriers first team. So she's been surrounded by some very good people in her years at Stourbridge. And she's got a massive promotion and a massive job to do there. So best of luck to Meg. And we'll be interested to see how she gets on. But she's definitely got a lot of support.
For sure. Well, there we go. Lots happening up there in the Midlands, that's for sure. And quite a job that I think she has got to do over there in Stourbridge. But yes, good luck to all of them. Right. I said that I just wanted to run back to the southwest because it was quite sad that we just had to sort of run over it quite quickly. There was just a couple of bits that I wanted to throw out there. So we don't need to go back over who's done what and where and why. But I did want to just run through, again, some of the teams that might potentially be on their way up. And the Division 1 South for the Southwest Premier, it is not yet decided. Plympton Ladies are currently top of the table there. They have 41 points, but Saltash United are below them. 16 games played, 2 left to play. They both won the exact same amount. They both drawn the exact same amount. They're both on 41 points. If Saltash United can get themselves just one single solitary point over those 2 games, then they will be the champions and will be up. And for them, it's a pretty, I told you before, there's some great names in football, John. Here's one. They've got one called Sticker Women. That's just sticker, as in like what you collect from Panini. And I think that's just absolutely brilliant. So they've got to play Sticker Women, who are currently 5th in the table. If they don't win that, then they will sticker where they are, and they will have to try and get a point against Helston Athletic, which might be a little bit easier because they are currently in 7th. So that's the games left to be played over there. And the Saltash United game, might I add, against Sticker Women is happening tonight, right this very moment. I believe it's happening. It is the 7th of May. So indeed, that's happening now. 7:30 that kicked off. So yeah, that might be worth having a little look to see how they're getting on. But yes, they are against Sticker Women, and depending on what the scoreline is there, could well be promoted. Division 1 North is sorted. They do have their team ready to come up, and that is Gloucester City, who have won their league currently by 11 points, but they've still got at least one game left. Yes, definitely one game left to play. And yeah, they could well end up not just 11 points clear, but potentially 14 points clear as they take on Stockwood Wanderers, who are currently 8th. So that's the last game of the season, and a little bit of a sort of a, what do you call it, like a testimonial type run out almost for them, because it's a free hit and a nice way to end the season in front of their own fans. So that was the Southwest. And then just to run back through some information points for you in the Southern Premier was again teams that could well be coming up. So in the Division 1 North, they only have the 11 teams, so 20 games you need to be played. Currently, Beaconsfield Town, top of the division, 6 points clear, cannot be caught by, here's another great name, Penn and Tyler's Green. And they will have the opportunity to try and catch them, but they will fail because you can't get 6 points in one game, no matter how hard you try. So Beaconsfield Town, congratulations, they are up into Tier 5. And when you get to Division 1 South, only 9 teams in that one, but the season is pretty much over. There's one game left to play, which is Stoneham and Bursleden, but that will not make any difference to the top at all. Fleet Town have won the league by just 2 points over Havant and Waterlooville, and Fleet Town will be vying for some good football in Division number 5 of the Women's Pyramid. Just like John did, a couple of little stats for you to throw out on this league. Congratulations to Kayla Potter. 34 goals in 21 appearances there. And she was a Wickham, it still is, she ain't gone anywhere, Wickham Wanderers player. So congratulations to her. 34 goals, wins her the Golden Boot. Winchester City Flyers, Libby Wilkinson. She finished second with 26 goals in 26 appearances. And Beth Lloyd from the champions, Ascot United, picks up 3rd place with 23 goals in 24 appearances. You feel a bit sorry for, to be honest, with me, I'd give it to Annie Northwood of the Winchester City Flyers, because she scored 23 and 22, which is a slightly harder job to do, you would think. But it's not up to me. So there we go. But Annie, if you're watching, I'll give it to you, definitely. So well done there. Honourable mention as well to Jess Watkins from Wickham and Ellie White from Oxford City, also scoring above 20 goals. It's not easy to do that, even at this level. So congratulations to them. And with that in mind, we've done it. We've made it all the way around Tier 5. And again, just 2 champions to crown, which of course we will be back over the course of the next week or so to update you with. But it does mean that Lower League Lingo, John, has I sort of almost reached a conclusion in terms of running around through all of the leagues in the manner that we have. We'll probably have a little bit of a show about this, but I think we'll just ask you now, how do you think it's gone? Because it was a little idea that the three of us had. I floated it out to you and Gareth. What do you reckon? A little show. One of you takes the north, one of you takes the middle, I'll take the south, and between the three of us, we'll have a little chat about what's been going on in women's football in tier 3 and below. And do you know what? Whether people have come along and watched it or not, there's been quite a few views, to be fair, over the course of time. But for me, I've just found it brilliant because for me personally, doing this has really given me a really good overview of what the women's pyramid looks like in England and seeing some of these teams. And it really it's enhanced my enjoyment of like the FA Cup, because you can't go, I know that team. Yeah, they're doing quite well in that league, as opposed to it just being, which team are Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal going to play when they finally get to it. So it's been really good to sort of focus in and see those sorts of things, but also just really good to be able to get these teams' names out there and run through some of these stories, because there have been some really, really exciting stories this season.
Yeah, definitely really enjoyable. It's been nice to shout out some names and teams that I've never really looked at before, especially on the East Midlands side. I'm from the West Midlands, so to look at the East Midlands and learn a little bit about that has been good. And also just obviously I make notes beforehand so I can kind of remember, and it's good that like certain names come up, certain storylines come up, certain teams come up, or you start remembering a lot more, don't you, when you start researching a little bit more. Obviously, me and you always look every Sunday at the leagues and the results. That's what we do as fans. But when you start writing them down, and when it takes over a big chunk of your week because you want to think about who to highlight, it automatically educates you. And I've learned so much by doing this show that I can't wait to obviously hopefully carry it on next season, because you do learn yourself, don't you?
You absolutely do. I'm finding the same thing with all the work we're doing currently, going around some of the different leagues that we've been looking at. The SWPL, the A League, the Frauen Bundesliga, Serie A, Liga F, NWSL, Division 1 over in France, and even the Gennaro Adran Premier of Wales. You start picking up so many different things, like you say, seeing different names, different teams repeated all the time. It's honestly, women's football is definitely the place to be. Well, I don't know what next week's going to bring, gang. We might well be updating you on who the two champions are in Tier 5. We might be having another little debate based on some of the other things that have been going on around football. We have got a few things planned. We're looking to do some sort of County Cup informational shows potentially. There's lots that we have got in store over the close season, so don't you worry about that. We'll find something to talk about. We're very, very good at that. John, thank you very much for your time. Pleasure to have had you with us. Gaza, thank you. We hope you enjoyed your dinner, which was indeed what he did need to go and jump off for. The poor guy ordered his food an hour and a half before we were meant to start, and it arrived just as we were about to go on, of course. So we were nice to him. He was good last week, so we gave him a bit of time to go and eat. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you saved me some chicken chow mein. That'd be grand. Right, well done. Cheers all. We will see you next week. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.